if you ain't never asked nobody for nothing, this is gonna be the time. Trust me, I never asked for jack, and I was like, who gonna give me a handout? Like, is it gonna be you? Give me a handout. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you, man. Do you need anything? Is the house good?
Yeah, house is good.
I'm wondering.
Oh.
I mean, where else would you record? It sounds like the acoustics of the office. Like in the office, eh? It's just so I record look better.
Hello. Welcome to this beautiful space of love and light. This week, I am bringing you a video about purchasing a home. Now, whether it is your first home like it is mine, or if you have done this before, I'm here to offer you a 2-part series of things that you, number 1, need to know, and part 2, things that you need to do. So, before we get into all that, I'm going to give you the details on this lovely, this lovely head wrap that I am rocking. It is by Lulu's African Prince. She is a African queen, so this would be a Black-owned business that you are supporting, and her prices are so reasonable. I love her wraps because they come already made to fit your crown, and you just have to tuck in the little straps. I've made a video on a product review that I did for her that you can find in, let me just do this far corner. And yeah, check that video out so that you can be even more sold on being a fly queen. This video is different than what I usually make, but this is more so just giving you guys a look into my life and into the journey that I have just started to pursue. And yeah, all about helping my fellow kings and queens get some type of leverage and understanding and transparency in this world and throughout our journeys together, because a lot of these things I did not know, most of these things I did not know, and I didn't necessarily have anyone that I could go to and get this knowledge. It took a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, literally, to acquire these things, and I just really hope that these videos are beneficial towards you or for you. So part 1 that I'm doing this week is all about things that you need to know. So, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, y'all, to help me and my beautiful family acquire some more wealth. And part 2, need to do or should do, highly recommend you do when buying a home. Whether it's your first home or you've had multiple homes, these tips will be helpful for you. So I went through the home buying, I went through my first home buying experience in the middle of COVID-19, which already came with its own hassles. I ended up closing. I started the journey when I was 24. I ended up closing on my first home when I was 25, literally 2 weeks after my birthday, which was super exciting. But that just goes to show you how long the process can be. So, you know, be mindful of that. Have patience. But the point is that I'm trying to get to is that currently, with everything going on, especially if you live in Florida, we are in the middle of a seller's market, okay? So anything that you're looking at, you need to jump on and put in an offer today. That is just something you need to know and to do. I didn't write this point down, it just came to me. But I definitely want you guys to be super aware of the climate that you're dealing with, okay? But anywho, I started this journey, and along the journey, I realized just how much I did not know, and did not know to do when thinking about buying my first home. So I'm all about spreading Black wealth, Black literacy, and just love and light sharing. That's what this space is for. We're not just here to promote the health of our hair. We're here to promote the health of our minds, the health of our body, the health of our spirit. So I hope these points you guys find helpful. And if you do, make sure you subscribe to my channel once again, so that you can help me and my family in the way that I've helped you and your family. The first section, so this video will be the things to know series in this 2-part video of buying your home. So the things to know, I have broken into 2 parts as well, which the first section is the fun things, or what I call the light or the love section. And the love section is the part that is self-explanatory. You will love these things. You will be able to have fun with these things. These are the enjoyable parts of buying your first home, at least in knowing these things. Now, the second part is what I call the not so fun, or the light section of this video, which is where you're going to need to be in tune with your creator. Whatever God that you pray to, you will be praying to him, going through these things, him or her, going through these things, because you'll just need some grounding, some centering, some peace, some faith, okay? So just to let you know, that's how this video is going to be translated. And I'm going to start off with the love section, because who doesn't like good news? So first point, the home buying process is very rewarding. You get land, if that's what you're interested in, freedom, and opportunity. So whatever it is that you want to do out, and whatever it is that you want to acquire out of life, owning real estate or owning property just puts you a foot further in that process. So whether it be if you want to have kids, having a home makes it a lot easier to create the space that you want for your child, i.e. and the way that you decorate. That is a big part. I know when I was renting, I didn't want to put too much investments in my condo, even though it was a condo, because I knew that that wasn't where I wanted to be long term. So even if it was self-conscious, even if I didn't think of that when I moved in, I knew that I had limitations when it came to what I could do and what I couldn't do just being in there. As far as the land, you can garden, you'll have your own yard. If you have an animal, you can have even more animals, which goes into the opportunity portion. If you're thinking about starting a business, you now have space that you don't have to worry about noise complaints or just things like that. It really opens your mind and spirit up to being more, just having more freedom. That I feel like is a really big pro in knowing that you can do what you put your mind to, you know? And that's not to discredit renting, because just having something that is your own is a beautiful morale booster in general. But when you have something that is your own, that no one can tell you what to do and how to do it or when to do it, that's just a whole nother notch in your confidence, in your space, in your work-life balance of how you feel about yourself. Also, if you potentially wanted to do something like an Airbnb, or even if you wanted to rent out your place and buy another place, you now have some skin in the game of where, how, when, all of these things that you could do. So it's just a wonderful investment, which brings me to number 2. You are saving money. So as crazy as it is, I have gained, my current place, my current home is 1,300 square feet, and I have over a quarter acre of land. Believe it or not, I am paying the same amount, I think, plus $200, which is my utilities, cable, and matter of fact, no, I'm paying essentially the same amount of money that I was paying for a 900 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom condo, living in a home with over a quarter acre, which is amazing to me. The fact that I can save money by being able to have an investment essentially, but more so, even if I would have gotten something smaller, I would save even more money. But this is what I wanted and what I could afford, so I got that. But you'll definitely be able to save some money on rent versus mortgage when you become a homeowner. Yes, it is more money up front, but we'll get to that later. Either way, long term, you're saving money by buying a home versus renting, which brings me to point 3. You're earning money. So when you have rent, you never get that money back. You're literally throwing money away. Like, never see it again, okay? When you have a home, when you have an investment, when you have real estate, you will always get that money back. Even if you just get back what you put in, you'll essentially always be able to acquire some sort of wealth from buying a home. So if you buy a home that is $80,000 in a pretty okay neighborhood, in 10 years that home will be worth $160,000. So you have, at least, so you've earned $80,000 just for having somewhere to stay. And needless to say, you've decorated the place how you want it, planted whatever vegetables that you may have wanted, raised a child in a good school zone. A lot of different benefits come from just having whatever benefits that you desire in buying the home. You get those while still making money for staying there. Oh, yeah. And that is just from squat equity. If you put in renovation work, if you do an add-on, there's so many ways that you can build sweat equity that takes that $160,000 or that $80,000 gain and takes it up to a $240,000 gain. So these are just the differences in the ways that having a home, even if it does seem like a lot of money at first, which once again, I'm going to get to that later. Either way, you'll be throwing that same money away just by renting. So even if you saved up your rent for an entire year that you're putting into whatever dwelling that you're in now, if you saved up that same amount of money and used it as a down payment, you at least wouldn't be throwing it away on rent. You would be investing it into a home that you'll eventually get that money back. My 4th point in the love section is that you will be offering or acquiring something that you could leave to your loved ones as a gift, or just something to keep in the family that will build generational wealth. Now, Black people, sadly, I love my people, and it's so unfortunate that we have been dealt the hand that we have been dealt, but it's not on accident. I'm not going to go into that in this video, but just know we are powerful, and We have had real estate for centuries, but it continues to be taken, abused, neglected, just intentionally destroyed or mishandled or just withheld from us so that we don't acquire wealth. So having real estate allows for you to give your child, your husband, your mother, whoever, a upper hand in life when it comes to financially. Financial literacy is something that we should all be seeking, but having real estate makes it just that much easier. You may not understand right now if you haven't indulged into the education of financial literacy of why having real estate is just so beneficial, but I highly encourage you to do that if you are looking into buying a home. I can't get into all of that in this video because I'll make this video an hour long. But just know real estate is one of the number one ways to acquire wealth in this country. And it is one of the biggest catalysts in making millionaires and billionaires in this country as well. There's many millionaires that are millionaires just from real estate. So don't underestimate how powerful it is just to have ownership of something. My fifth point in the love section of this things to know video is that there is a microclimate of neighborhoods when you're searching for a home. So to go into that a little more, when I was renting, there were only like I was renting a condo. So if you're renting a home, then you probably already understand this a little bit more. But when I was renting my condo, and also when I rented my first ever place, which was an apartment, the neighborhood that you are in or the community that you are in is a rented community. So, and it also is a very large community. So you have a lot of neighbors. There's a lot of people who you see every day, who may see you every day or may not see you every day. So there's not really a bond that is created. And if it is, it's very transient, because usually when you're renting, you're in a transient situation. As to when you own a home, a lot of these people have been here or been in their place for 5, 10, 15, 20, maybe even 30 years, maybe even longer than that. Their parents might have owned the home that they stay in. So there's a different sense of loyalty. There's a different sense of morale. There's a different sense of community that comes with having a housing neighborhood versus a townhouse, or I can't even say townhouse because those are a little smaller, but just having a apartment or a condominium type of community. So like with my neighborhood, you have very few people that you're coming in contact with. You know if there's someone new in the area. So this allows for you to have a much more controlled community or much more controlled setting and a much more controlled foundation of where it is that you're living. So with that, you can more easily determine if an area feels safe, if an area feels protected, if an area feels friendly, if an area feels what you want it to feel, you know? I know when I was in an apartment, the main things I was looking for was cleanliness, low rent, and what the staff was like, you know. I wanted to make sure that my maintenance man was available when I wanted him to be. I wanted to make sure that the other residents were happy with the money and the facility, but I wasn't necessarily concerned with if I felt like the people that stayed there were all friendly or were welcoming, or if they cut their grass, just stuff like that. So being in a housing neighborhood, it allows you to see people in a different way. Like, it becomes more of a community. I don't really know how else to put it. But it's not something that you go into with the thought of the leniency that you go into with being in a condo or an apartment of who is living around you, I'm not saying I ever rented in a condo that felt dangerous. Of course not. I just feel like it's a lot more difficult to know if the people around you are friendly or not friendly when you're living within a community of over 200 to 300 people. As to my neighborhood, there's easily maybe 50 people that live here, and that is within the entire cul-de-sac. Just on my street, there are, I think, 15 houses, and every single person walks out and speaks to one another. So it's not just one of those things like, hey and bye. It's like, I watch your back, you watch my back, because we all have ownership here. So it's just a different energy. Also, just to round out this point, if you ever really wanted to know who you were living next to, you can literally look up every single person's address that stays around you, find out their name, find out how long they've been living there, and see what their records are. So that's a whole nother sense of control that you have in your microclimate, of knowing who's around you. As to with an apartment or even with a condo, which has owners, you can only look up the owner of your apartment. You can't look across the hall and say, hey, what's your name? Or like figure out someone's name by their apartment unit. So that's just another thing to keep mindful of. You definitely have a lot more influence over who you're around when you live in a house. So that concludes the love section of this video. The light section, or the not so fun section, begins with point number 1 of, if you are not paying outright, as in if you are not paying completely for your house, like an auction house or a foreclosure, like basically if you owe any money on your home and you're gonna need a loan, be ready for whoever it is that you're getting this money from to be all in your business. Have your bank statements ready, have your patience ready, have anything that they ask you for ready and willing, because it becomes very invasive. Like, if you choose to look at it as invasive, it will be invasive and you may be uncomfortable. But you have to understand that these people are giving you a lot of money, more money than most of us make within a year. So you would have to think about that. Like, how would you feel if someone just said, hey, you're working for free for the rest of the year because I want to do what I want to do? You would have a ton of questions about what it is that they're going to do, why they're doing it, how they plan on doing it, when they're going to do it, when they're going to give you their money back, or when they're going to give you your money back. Just a lot of questions. So be ready for that same experience when it comes to buying a home and dealing with lenders or with the bank, because they're gonna be all in your business. I'm talking about like the last 5-10 years of your business. Okay, don't be worried, because everybody has a story. Nobody's perfect. I just want you to be prepared for the fact that they're gonna ask you for a lot of things, and you need to be willing to give them up, and be pleasant about giving them up, because nobody likes a negative Nancy ever. And point 2 of the light section is you're gonna have to pay people that you do not want to pay. So like in my case, I had a collection on my credit because I did not go through the proper channels of escrowing my rent when I was dealt dirty in my first condo renting situation. So they actually put a collection on my credit for that situation. And I just knew I was never going to pay these people. I was like, I would never give them this money. Like, they should be paying me. I was like, I need to take these people to court, all this stuff. Never did it because it was a headache. But either way, when it came down to me purchasing my first home, I had to pay them. And I was just like, that was one of the most humbling things in the world for me. I was like, dang, I really don't want to do this. But either way, didn't dwell about it. They told me that I had to do it, I was on the phone with the IRS instantly, gave them people their little money. But that's just one example of you having to pay people that you don't want to. Student loans, I had to pay some of those off, or at least start. Just all types of stuff. Hospital bills that may be on your collection. Sprint, who get on your nerves. You gotta pay them people. So just be ready. You might even want to start paying them. Matter of fact, I'll say that for the things to do video. But just know, be ready. People gonna be trying to take your money and gonna be getting your money, not just trying. Point number 3 in the light section of this video is be open and flexible. Whoever you're dealing with, they are going to be asking you for a lot of things. They might be telling you a lot of things. So just be open-minded in what they're saying and be adaptable in the situation. Don't get too attached really to any idea that you may have, unless it's something that you really like, unless it's a necessity. But if it's something that it's a want and it's not a need, then just let it go. Because if it's not a need, like you needing to have a house and you needing to acquire generational wealth, or you needing to be able to find a place for your family, don't let it stop you. Don't let it become a problem, because we're here creating solutions, not problems. So be open and flexible to the process. My 4th point in the light section is ask questions. Make sure that you don't just let anybody tell you something and you just go with it, because a lot of times most of the time, people got their own best interests at heart. If I can do less work and you do more work, that's what they're going to ask you to do. So make sure you're asking questions and prompting them so that they can't lie to you, or you just don't get taken advantage of because you didn't ask. And also advocate for yourself. If you feel like it's a loan, or if you feel like it's a program, or like it's a grant out there for you that they are not telling you about, ask. Do your own research. Like I said, challenge these people in what it is that they're telling you, because you're paying them a lot at the end of the day. So make sure that you're not just getting played for a fool by playing the fool and not asking questions and not being like, if you're gonna be a fool, then be real foolish and ask every single question that comes to your mind that you may be pondering later on, so that you have full skin in the game, so that you know what cards are in this person's hand, so that once again you're just not being finessed, because it is possible for you to get finessed. Absolutely. Do not hesitate on the fact that these people will just take your money and take as much of your money as they possibly can. Period. Number 5, you will always be answering to somebody. So people who think, oh yeah, I have a home now, I can do what I want, not necessarily true. If you have a mortgage, you can't just do what you want to do. So like I said earlier, if you're not paying outright, just be humble, because there's going to be things that come up like interest and principal. or interest. And there's another thing that I pay for on my mortgage that I cannot remember what it is right now. But I was so surprised at how little of the money that I pay for my mortgage actually goes towards my mortgage. A lot of it goes towards like interest and something else. I think it's interest and insurance. Which I might have paid my insurance in full. I'm not sure. But either way, if it's not the mortgage people that you're answering to, you're answering to the IRS when you pay taxes. Like, you're always essentially going to be answering to somebody. So stay humble. Don't feel like, oh, I'm a homeowner now, so my stuff don't stink, or somebody owes me something. Nobody owes you anything. This is just a different way that you can be flexible, that you can be present, that you can be having a seat at the table, but it doesn't give you the whole table and the whole auditorium. So yeah, just wanted to make that a point, that you'll always have somebody to answer to until you pay all of your mortgage off. Number 6 in the light section. I know this part seems like it's going forever, but number 6 is kind of like this video, and the fact that the process may take longer than you think it will. So like I said earlier, I started the home ownership process when I was 24. I didn't get my first house until I was 25. So it literally took me a full year to purchase a home. Now, it went by super quick, and during that process, COVID-19 was going on. So I'm positive if it wasn't COVID, that process wouldn't have took me that long. Like, the IRS was closed for in-person meetings. The postal service was delayed. Like, it was just a lot of stuff that was going on. But either way, like, even when it comes down to closing is going to take longer than you think. Like, even if you have something ideally in your head of a timeline, that's cool, but don't get frustrated if it don't start to go like how you think it's gonna go. Keep that light. Like, this is the light section, because you're going to have to continuously pray and check in with source to make sure that you aren't creating resistance in the process. So just have faith, have centering, be grounded, and know that everything is working itself out, even if you're not calling everybody and doing all this footwork, because you can just be chasing your own tail by doing all of that stuff and really just like getting nowhere and almost like burning bridges. So stay and blocking your blessing because you're not having faith. So just have faith, relax, go get a drink or something. Number 7 leads from that go get a drink or something. Have a support group, whether it be somebody that's mentally there for you, that will go out with you and get a drink. Hopefully that person, or maybe a person, is physically there for you. Y'all go out, get a drink together. You talk about all your mental health issues, and they pay for it. Mental, physical, and financial. Have support in all 3 of those areas, because baby, it becomes a lot. Like, down to like, so just with the mental, like I said, you need somebody that's gonna be there to help you vent, like, because you're gonna want to vent at some point or another about the process. Physically, when it comes down to moving, you don't want to be moving into a house by yourself. You also, if you need to be doing renovations, don't want to be doing all them renovations by yourself, because that crap is tedious. And number 3, having a financial support. I ain't saying that you have to have this, but it really, really, really helps having somebody there that is sharing this investment with you. Whether it be, they helping out with the down payment, or they paying for the putting the money in escrow, or they're paying for the inspection, or they can help you out with some furniture. Like, whatever you can get, take it. I absolutely recommend taking it, because you'll have your whole life to pay them back, but when you trying to get into this house, like, you're gonna need all the help that you can get. For real, for real. If you ain't never asked nobody for nothing, this is gonna be the time. Trust me, I never asked for jack, and I was like, who gonna give me a handout? Like, is it gonna be you? Give me a handout. So just know that, yeah, you're gonna want to have a tribe around you for this process. And the last and most important point of all of this video: do not give up. Do not give up. Make sure that you know, do not give up, because at the end of the day, all of this is for a reason so much larger than you. Whatever gets put in front of you, you can handle. Matter of fact, God has already handled. So make sure that you know from the beginning that this is not something that you're trying to do. This is something that you're doing. Nobody and nothing can come in front of what it is that you're acquiring but you. So if you decide to give up, that's the only way that this won't work, because like I said, God already has it handled. So don't block your own blessing. Make sure that you are in tune with every single thing that I have said on this list. If you gotta watch this video 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, make sure that you do that. If you have to pray every single day, make sure you got your sage on deck. Make sure that you have your water meditation, whatever it is that you need to do on deck, to where that you do not give up. Just stay down. That's all I can say. It is so worth it. In the process, you will thank yourself every day that you are in your home for staying down. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for watching this video. I know it's helpful, because once again, these points are things that I wish that I would have known in this process, that I had to find out the hard way, but either way was totally worth it. And now I get to share it with you all. So if there's anything that you want me to elaborate on, or anything that you learned in the home buying process, comment below. If you love what I had to say, like this video and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I put out part 2 of this video next week, and get the things to do when you are buying your first home. So thank you all again for tuning in. I love each and every one of you. I'm sending you all love and light, and just abundance and gratitude on your journeys throughout the cosmos. So catch you next week.